Okay, let's do another video. We'll try to do another brief one. We just did a hummingbird, and it was quite fast and short, and hopefully it was close enough. But this one I'm going to draw, and then we'll go ahead and add color to it. So I'll mostly just work without a lot of talk. I'm just going to add a little bit of structure, and then we can do more after we paint if we want to. Kind of give us a reference here. I've really enjoyed doing butterflies the last couple of days. I've listed them in my shop, and I don't know, they're just so, they seem so cheerful, I think is why I've just really enjoyed doing them of late. This one's on the side, so it looks like I can just see the one set of wings. And this one's got can't really see the legs too much there. Now let's kind of give it a little bit of composition. And I really love how this wing is just so large. I think I'll increase that a little bit there. So we don't see a whole lot of this flower, so we're just going to kind of make it up a little bit. My pen is, I'm kind of losing, it's not as dark ink as I would like. I'll have to see what I've got in my supplies, if I've got another one or not. But we'll call it almost good here. So our flowers are loose. Our butterfly, actually, let's give it just a little bit of its pattern. And what I found on butterflies is they're just, you can almost just create your own design. There are so many unique butterflies that whatever you create is actually a real butterfly, because they are so varied and gorgeous. So you really can't go wrong with the shapes that you're making on these butterflies. So this kind of gave us just a little bit of reference where we might want to put some color. And what I've found in drawing the butterflies is, again, that makes them so much fun is you can kind of just create it as you go. So one thing I've found that I've enjoyed is I'll go to the flowers first here, is putting water and letting the water bleed out. That's kind of creates a looseness, and that's what we'll do with the butterfly too. I started with these flowers, and look how pretty they are. They've got pink and orange, and so we're just gonna, I don't know that our flowers are gonna follow the exact flowers that we're seeing here, but we're gonna give a loose representation of these flowers. So I'm adding color now to the wet water and it's bleeding out. And then I'll, as it dries just a little bit more, we'll add some pink and yellow that we see there too. So I'll move down to the leaves part and the stems. Okay, we can finish some of these things up after. So we'll move on to our butterfly. We don't want, I'm trying to make it shortened. And leaves are pretty straightforward, so we'll leave those for right now. So the colors that I see on this butterfly are the browns. Now you see it too, right? Right here. Yeah, the browns and yellows, oranges. And what I've noted in, I'm going to make a little smaller brush, is in some of these butterfly pictures that I see, is the butterflies actually are almost a little camouflaged. I'm sure they land on flowers that aren't the same colors that they are, but I also think that when they are on flowers that are similar to their coloring, they are very camouflaged. And then they're just so brilliant when they're on a contrasting flower to their colors. It's just, that's where the cheer comes in for me. Okay, now the body's quite wet, so I'm going to let that dry just a little bit. Take a little bit of the water out, but let that dry just a little bit. Let's go back to these flowers and let's add, oh, now we can't see the flowers much. I've made that, there we go. Before the flowers dry, and some of them are dry now, but I wanted to kind of blend in some of this other color. Other colors that we see. See if they'll just kind of blend a little bit. So I see the pink, and then there's some yellow too. And we can come back in and add some more contrasting color. But let's come back to this lovely butterfly. One of the things I like about watercolors is how loose they can get. And then that's another challenge of watercoloring, is to kind of figure out how to get that look. Because sometimes when you're doing details, you get kind of tight. So I've been going along and I'm painting these butterflies. I've got a couple listed in my shop and that I've enjoyed lately, and I forgot what I was going to say. And sometimes I'll be painting along and I'll decide, oh, I'm just going to switch colors. I'm not going to do the colors like I'm seeing. I'm going to add this color or that color because, again, like I said, you just can't go wrong with a butterfly. They're so diverse and so varied. Sometimes you'll see them and you'll think it can't even be real. It's just so exquisite and so unique. So you can't go wrong. So we can create something that we sing, or we can create something that we just are making up. And I think these are kind of tropical flowers because I don't have flowers like this around my place here. I think I'm gonna add just some more leaves than I had, and then we'll come back in with a pen and create them, or define them a little bit. But just to balance out the picture is where I'm looking and making my decisions now. Okay, my butterfly's getting a little more dry, so I can give a little more definition to him. There's a little bit of network, if that's the right word, in this butterfly. And we can come in and bring that in when it's a little more dry. But what I'm seeing is a little color variance here, starting with the red and moving more towards orange, and then yellow on the outside. So that's a little bit what I'm moving towards trying to create. I haven't quite figured out the brown, because I don't really want, brown just doesn't sound like the pretty bright of a butterfly that I kind of want this guy to be. So I guess I probably should have chosen a different picture. The butterfly. I'm going to bring in some blue on him. Let's just bring this lovely little, sometimes they have that kind of a scalloped on some of their wings. Sometimes they do, they don't always. But let's do that. That will give them just a little definition, a little bit of daintiness too, which is always beautiful. Sometimes their bodies don't always do, sometimes they stand out and sometimes they don't. Now those legs are on top of a flower, but the flower isn't there yet. So some of this a little brighter. Okay, my butterfly's getting a little more dry, so I can come back in. Oops. There's a little gnat off of here. There we go. Oops, should have got him. I don't want it to be a long video, so I think you're starting to be able to see the gist of it. It's having a hard time getting this little butterfly dry enough to then move on, but I think I'm going to bring in a little bit of blue for its vibrancy, and I'm going to do it around the spots so they show up just a tad more. And then the spots really are lovely when they're white, but I think I'm going to add just, it's still pretty wet, going to add a little bit of color to them too, to have them show up. Just a little bit of water on that brush. Move just a little bit. There we go. Sometimes along the outer wings, there's almost a I didn't leave a lot of white here, so let's see if I can just kind of create it. So if it was dry enough, then I would try to do some of the networking with a very fine brush. And let's see. And there's not a right or wrong. They kind of and he's just not as bright as I'd like him to be. So I'm going to bring a little more color in. So we're going to swap out some of the white for a little bit of blue. Just make him a little more vibrant. Okay, we're getting to where I'm getting kind of muddy on him because I'm adding to him while he's still wet. But I am going to alter it a little bit, and instead of having the brown, I'm going to bring in quite a bit more yellow to make him a cheerful butterfly. But our time is moving along here, so what I'll do is let him dry, and I think I'll be adding some more yellow, and then seeing what kind of definition he still needs, if he needs the veining in him or not. Okay guys, well, this is our butterfly. Not sure that he's exactly how I want him yet, but let's go ahead and sign our work and then have fun working on a butterfly today. Remember, you can't go wrong because there are just such a variety. The thing I do like about them is how cheerful they are. Okay, have fun guys.